Am I the a-hole for setting boundaries with my parents over my daughter after a disturbing discovery about a family friend? Growing up, Uncle Ted was always around. He wasn't our real uncle, just a close family friend. I used to play with his kids all the time. Then one day, they just stopped coming around, and not long after, Ted disappeared too. I asked my mom where my friends went, and she told me they were living with other family members now. I was raised in a don't talk back household, so I didn't question it. It just seemed like one of those things that happens. Eventually, Ted came back into our lives, but I never saw his kids again. He would babysit me and my brother, take us places, buy us gifts. He was always there, just part of the background of our lives. Then when I was 13, he vanished again. I asked my parents why, and they just said not to worry about it. I felt sad, but I moved on. Life went on. Now I'm married with a daughter of my own. A few months ago, I ran into Ted's ex-wife. I almost didn't recognize her. I asked how her kids were doing, and she awkwardly said they don't keep in touch. I found that odd, but didn't push. I told my mom about the encounter, and she got quiet. Finally, she said, "I guess it's time you found out the truth." She told me that Ted had been caught with CSAM. He ended up taking a plea deal. He got probation and had to register. At first, his wife didn't leave him. Because of that, both of them lost custody of their kids, who went into foster care and were eventually adopted. She did eventually leave him, but the damage was done. I asked my mom if she had really believed his story. Ted claimed he was framed. She said she never really believed him, but he was so convincing, and she didn't think he'd ever do anything. I asked her why they kept him around us. Her answer, he never did anything. I lost it. That was really a risk she was willing to take with her own kids? What finally made them cut him off was when he, a man in his 40s, started dating a 16-year-old. He kept saying it was legal and age of consent, this and that, but that was finally too much for my parents, especially since I was only 13 at the time. They cut contact with him then. I couldn't believe it. I felt like my whole childhood had this shadow hanging over it. I couldn't trust my mom anymore. I couldn't even trust my memories. I've been in therapy for other issues, and after talking this through with my therapist, we came to the conclusion that while I wasn't physically abused, I was most likely groomed. Ted may have been trying to position himself for a relationship with me once I turned legal. That thought makes me sick. My brother doesn't want therapy. He doesn't think he was groomed, but he's disgusted too. My husband was horrified. He doesn't trust my parents' judgment anymore either. We decided to go very low contact. When we do see them, they are never allowed to be alone with our daughter. I don't trust them to protect her, not after what they were willing to risk with us. My parents think we're overreacting. They say they made a mistake and corrected it. I said yeah, but only after exposing us to danger for years. Other family members are saying we're being too hard on them, that hindsight is 20/20th. But I don't think this is just hindsight. This was a conscious decision they made. They saw red flags and ignored them. I was a child. It was their job to protect me, and they didn't. So I have to ask, am I the a-hole?